Alright, so I've just finished over here, and I'm going to turn my work. There is a little step here. Let me just show you this little step. I've got 3 loops on my hook, and that's my start of round 2. Now, you could, if you wanted, take a little stitch marker, and you could place the stitch marker up here on one of the stitches and move it up as you go so that you can keep track of the rounds. I did not do that. It just really gets in my way. I don't want to be taking this guy in and out of my work. And I'll show you why, and I'm going to bring this in real quickly. Here is the start. Now I know it's the beginning because I have yarn to prove it. This is the beginning chain right here. This is the beginning. Now you see it's a little, it's off a little bit right here. It's a little off because of the spiral. But once you seam that in, this is crochet after all, so it just comes together because it's very flexible that way, and you just seam that together. But here is why I did not put a stitch marker. It's because I know that this is the first stitch, because here is the yarn. And if you just follow that up, all the way up, see how the yarn, it separates here, so you know exactly where you're at, and you follow it up, all the way up. I can tell without any question that this is my first stitch, and so when I finish this last round here, I know that this is the first stitch, and I didn't waste time by putting in the stitch marker. And that's just me. If you want to put in the stitch marker and move it up, go for it. It's just I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like it. And to be honest with you, this is just a little cowl. Let me see if I can move this camera back. This is just, it's just a cowl, for goodness sake. If there is half of your round has, you know, 9 rounds and the other side has 8, I don't think anybody's going to come up to you and, oh, wait a minute now, you have 1, 2, 3. Nobody's going to notice. It's going to even out, and nobody's going to really notice. So I just really don't think it's necessary for something like this. Don't feel like you must waste your time. Isn't that pretty? Wow, that's gorgeous. I need to put that on my desktop background or something. That is gorgeous. Okay, let's move it out of the way. So, come back to our work, and we've picked up stitches here. I can tell that this is the hook side for picking up stitches, because see how that guy is loopy? I can tell that. So now I'm going to move over, and I'm going to remove some of these stitches. And the way to remove them is pull through 2, just like you did before, and it will always be pull through 2 because this is a spiral. We never have the pull through 1 ever again. So pull through 2, pull through 2. Now remember to leave, whoops, go back up there. Remember to leave 3 stitches. Oh my goodness, really? There we go. Okay, pull through 2, and continue to do that all the way across until you have 3 stitches remaining. Pull through 2, pull through 2, all the way. Pull through 2. And again, now if you notice, I am always going to be pulling up stitches with the blue, and I'm always going to be closing stitches with the white. And that's the way it's going to be for the entire project. So you'll know which stitch is doing what, or which color is doing what. Always blue for pulling up. Now see? We have 3 stitches. So now I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to make sure that I don't cross my yarns so that they don't get all tangled. and we're going to try that stitch pattern again. So this may have you making new stitches and at the same time learning a new technique. So put the yarn in the front, insert your hook under the 2 vertical bars at the same time, yarn over, and pull a loop through. Now yarn over and insert your hook into the back vertical bar, yarn over, pull a loop through. Now in the front, the yarn in the front, 2 vertical bars, and see this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Always end with the reverse when you set it down. Pull through 2, now yarn over, come to the back, pull up a loop. Keep it loose, and the looser you keep this, the easier it's going to be to make the stitches. 2 vertical bars, yarn over, pull through. That's a purl, but you're purling 2 together at the same time. Yarn over, and it does help to do this reverse stitch if you push the stitch through to the back with your non-hook hand. And see it now. I got it. Okay, now I've done 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't ever turn or set it down unless you're at 3. So now I'm going to turn and I'm going to continue closing the loops. And there is no rhyme or reason here about the number of loops, just how many feels comfortable to you. If you can fit several loops and your circle is not getting strained, if you can fit half of them on there, then that's perfectly fine. Just as long as it's not falling off this end, and as long as it's not straining your work. There's no rhyme or reason. Just continue pulling loops until it's comfortable. Then you can turn. Alright, now I'm going to turn, always making sure that I'm not crossing my yarn. You turn it one way one time and one way the other, just to make sure not tangling. Now pull through 2, and again, pull through 2, and again, 1, and now when I'm pulling through 2, I've got this big guy right here. That's the yarn over. That's why that one looks different. It's the same stitch. It still has a front and back vertical bar, but it's just bigger. And I always know that's 2. So that is also helpful when I'm counting. If I start to lose my place, I can tell that's 2. That's always going to be 2 and 3. And now we have 3 remaining. And we're going to turn over and start picking up loops again. So you see, one side is picking up loops, one side is closing them. And you just do that all the time. Just keep going around and around and around and around. It's going to be exactly the same throughout the entire project. And you're going to do you're going to do 9 rounds total. Now if you do want something with less height or more height, you can keep going. There is enough yarn in the skeins to keep going if you wanted. But I did 9 rounds. And they're very easy to count when you do the stitch pattern. And I will show you that in just a minute. Yarn over. And pull up a loop. That's 3. So yarn in front, purl 2 together, now yarn over and reverse. Okay, And you are going to just keep going and going and going and going and going. You're doing exactly the same thing. Close up to the 3, then pull up more. Close into the 3, pull up more. And you just keep going until there's 9 rounds. And let me grab the cowl again. And let me try to zoom out here. Alright. Counting the rows is, or the rounds, very simple because I can count these guys here. This is the one that I use to close. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've done 9. Now, once you've done 9 rounds and you've gone and you've checked, you've done fully 9 rounds, or you just want to close because you don't care because no one's going to count them, I'm going to show you how to bind off this last round. Alright, now let's say that I've just completed 9 rounds and I've closed all the way up to the last 3 stitches. Now I'm going to go ahead and close these last 3 stitches. This is where you're going to close them all the way. So go ahead and close the last 3. 1. This is a lot easier said than done when you're under the camera with this big, huge, bulky yarn and huge hook. I'm going to close those last 3. Alright, you see they're completely closed. Now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to be working in the other direction again. Alright, what I'm going to do is I am going to work as for simple stitch, but I'm going to make a slip stitch. So insert your hook as if you're making a simple stitch just under the front vertical bar, yarn over, pull a loop through that loop and also the one on the hook, and keep this loose. Just like the beginning chain, I want you to keep this one loose too. Now here's the yarn over, but it's built the same way. It has a front vertical bar and a back vertical bar. Insert your hook as if you're making a simple stitch, yarn over, pull a loop through that one and that one, the one on the hook. Now you're just making a slip stitch. It's something that you've done forever, I'm sure, but because it's made differently, it seems like it's something different. It's really not. So yarn over, pull through that one and through that one. And again, keep this loose, loosey-goosey right here. Don't go too tight or you won't get it over your head. Pull through that one and that one. Let's see, I'm just making a slip stitch right across the top, and you're going to do that all the way around. Now I'll show you why I wanted you to go in the back horizontal bar. You see how nice this edge is right here. See, it's very pretty. Now if we come over here, see, this is what happens. It's exactly the same as the top. So it's a little pretty feature that you can do to make sure that your work looks nice. It's just a little finishing technique. So you're going to slip stitch all the way around until you get all the way to the beginning. Okay, I've slip stitched all the way around, and now I've finished the last slip stitch. And cut off your yarn and then pull it through. And now I'm going to just pull, I'm just going to grab a smaller hook, I think. Let me get a smaller hook. I don't have a needle handy. Come on now. Where's the little hook? I know I have one. Here we go. There's a little hook. Now I'm going to insert my this other hook from back to front, and I'm going to pull that yarn through. And see that what that's going to do, that's going to cover up that that stitch there that is from the previous round, one that we didn't get to. And now I can weave in my end, and it looks like I've got another one sitting right on top of it. You want me to do that again? Let's see. So I cut off, and then I pull the strand all the way up through there. Now I skip that one that's the wrong color, insert my hook from back to front, and pull that loop through. Now come over here to the last one, and then pull that loop through. And I've made what appears to be another chain sitting on top of that one, so it's continuous all the way around. And now I can just weave in my yarn, and then I have to come back over here, and I have to seam this up. Now when you seam it up, make sure that you pull it together right there, and then you'll have a continuous round down there as well. And that's it.